I loves me some 1 degree of Chunky B.
Now, I just have to make a comment about Chunky B. Have you ever seen him looking so good?
The panel that includes actress Lady Kazan, comedian Chunky B, and Playboy TV host Julie Strain. Chunky?
What was the question? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for tuning in to 1 Degree of Chunky B in the Garage of Love. And I know I'm extremely redundant when I say you tuned into a good one. But this is, I'm saying it is genuine goosebumps already before I even talk to this guest, okay? But I want to get at a few things. Always thank you to Venice Duck Brewery. Thank you so much for being the best sponsor beer drinkers can be. And hello, we're not afraid to show the Buffalo Trace, Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. All right, Buffalo Trace. If you sip it on whiskey, it's got to be with the Trace, and if you're not, you're a jerk. Across the table of love, Gary Adler's not here tonight. His kid's got an all-star game up in Beverly Hills, and his kid's a slugger, and he's a great athlete. Adler's not here. He'll be here next week, so don't you worry, all you Adler fans. He'll be back. But what a great honor in the Garage of Love, the Wizard of the Knobs. Give it up for Travis Spencer.
Thank you so much, Chunky. I'm starting to get worried that we've got a beer and a whiskey sponsor now.
There's a theme, and I'm not the one to fight it.
I'm gonna need a driver when I come over.
Speaking of driving, or a driver who drives the comedy, you see what I'm doing here?
Yep, I wanted
on Craig Ferguson.
Curious.
Give it up for my friend, funny guy Bob Oschack.
So that means the camera's on me now.
Yeah, that's
yes,
right.
okay, cool. Hi, how are you? Nice to see you. Just making sure.
Check this out. When you do a podcast, a TV show, whatever, radio show, whatever it is, you do a pre-interview and you write notes and you do questions that you want to. This is how much I love Bob Oschack.
We don't need him.
We don't need
him now.
There's nothing on here because it's going to be all about the Flowetry.
Just give me a topic and we'll go off it. Or we can just talk about our own lives and how they've interacted through the years, starting from 2000 and Showbiz show was 05, I believe.
The what show?
Showbiz show.
Oh, the Showbiz show.
Which is when you were doing camera.
I was doing camera.
Yeah.
Did you do Chocolate News?
I did do Chocolate News. That was later, though.
Right.
Why? You weren't involved with that.
Yes, I warmed that up.
You were doing more. Oh, my God. You know why I didn't know that? We weren't on the set that much for Chocolate News. It was very different because it was mostly pre-tapes, and then we just had some live raps that he would do.
Well, check this out. The reason why Bob and I, adore and love each other is because we worked on Craig Ferguson for so many years, and then when they decided to go in a different direction, who do you go to? You go to Bob Oschack, who is by far, I think you are one of the funniest people I've ever met.
Okay.
And it was just, we could talk about it. At first, for me, it was a little awkward.
Sure.
But then I started realizing.
Awkward for me right now.
But and then one thing that I realized, it wasn't that anyone took my job. It was a job that, I lost.
It fell into my lap.
Yeah.
Changes happen all the time. I felt like I was... I was on a dinghy following in the wake of an ocean liner. I was holding on for dear life because you had so firmly imprinted your own stamp in doing warm-up, and you had an audience and a crew that truly adored you. And to walk in, I mean, literally, I felt like Piers Morgan trying to replace Larry King.
Right.
And still sort of feel like I'm holding on for dear life sometimes when the cameramen turn up to me, you're not Chunky.
Right. But I'll tell you what,
Chunky.
and I am not even pulling your leg here. Every person I've talked to, even the regular audience people, love you.
Yeah, I'm an amenable guy. I'm a friendly guy. I'm not confrontational. I can make people like me, but we definitely had two different styles. The art, it was so funny. I genuinely think it'd be a very small. The ratings for this show would be minuscule, but I do think there should be an inside the actor's studio for warm-ups, and we just sit in a panel or individually be questioned by someone. and we just talk about warm-up because it's its own. We have our own lexicon. We have our own, you know what I mean? We connect
certainly.
on levels that you and I completely understand, and perhaps 3 others in America would
Well, we
also.
do have it. No. We do have a summit. We do have a meeting quarterly, and all the warm-up guys get in town. I mean, get in town.
Is it because I'm new to the field that I'm not involved in this, or do I need to qualify?
No. You qualified. You're qualified, and it would be great. You know, there's sitcom guys. There's game show guys. There's talk show guys, and we all meet. In the last meeting, not the one before was here at my house.
Seriously?
Yep. And we
Who
all
are
get
some of the
together.
guys that are?
Roger Longblade, Gary Cannon.
He is someone who I've worked on a show that he warmed up. I never got to know him personally, but I watched him, and you know, again, in the world, the sub-universe of warm-up world, it was like watching Lombardi coach.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Or Streep act. He was like masterful.
Yeah.
Because it is its own craft. It's not stand-up comedy.
Right.
Anyone who thinks it's stand-up comedy is wrong.
I know. And
Anyone
you
who
get
thinks that
nailed.
cheerleading is wrong too.
Yep.
It's a hybrid of a lot of things that it's its own thing. I think it deserves its own field.
Yeah, you know, it's funny because America, you know, Middle America has no idea that we exist. You know, it's like what?
We're not. Yeah, they're supposed to see our handiwork, but not us.
Right. Exactly.
They get to enjoy our product, and again, we can't take credit for a crowd enjoying a show, but we can take credit for a crowd being ready to enjoy a show. And the difference between a crowd that is prepared to have fun and a crowd that is just thrown right into the lion's den, the difference is unbelievable.
So do we go into categories of fluffer?
I've been called that. Well, Craig, calls me that. I know he called you that too. I don't think that's in any way, shape, or form demeaning. I enjoy that. I mean, I enjoy that the job is that's what we do. We get them ready.
I was thinking at times when I was in the zone, right in the pocket, I would have no problem doing this job for free. That's how much fun I was having.
I got to tell you, lately, I've been having some it's just, how you go through cycles. Are we allowed to talk about our ages on this show?
Ages, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. How old are you?
I just turned 50.
Okay, so you're 50. I'm 41, about to turn 42. Travis, the Wizard.
The
Excuse me. The Wizard.
31.
31. Okay, so don't even bother chiming into this conversation or I'll punch you.
I'll wait a couple of years.
Yeah. You just go through a lot more mood swings when you get to be a middle-aged man because you have a lot of introspection. You got kids, you got your wife. I don't know if exactly life planned out as you may want it to be, but the odds of it becoming what you wanted it to be pretty slim by the time you're in the mid-40s.
Right.
So my point is I've hit a lot of days where I'm just like, you know what I mean?
Sure.
And literally the one little tiny sliver of the day where I'm like, oh, hell yeah.
Is...
warm up.
Yep, I know it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So not only would I do it free, I think it may keep me well in some sort of way. And it's not, it is an artificial interaction. It's not like it's any form of therapy. It's just you feel like you're in control. The good thing about doing warm up that perhaps you may not experience doing stand up is oftentimes, at least in my level of stand up, you get up in front of crowds that didn't really want to see stand up.
Right.
They sauntered into the theme bar or the Irish pub and lo and behold, look who's on the karaoke stage.
Exactly.
And then you're like, you trap them and you just make them feel awkward and you pray to God they don't leave before you're finished with your comedy. For warm up, that crowd wants to be there.
They want to be entertained.
They want to be there.
Especially when you get those guys from out of town.
Oh, my
and not
God,
the
God
jaded
bless them,
ones
yeah.
that I adore and love, but there's a whole other subculture that people are starting
Paids.
The Paids.
Yeah, sure.
Right. But
which I may be a part of at any point in my. So
I'll be sitting right next to you.
I may go from being the warm up to being the paid guy. The warm up is supposed to flop. I mean, they talk about a circle of life.
No kidding.
A
Would that
sad
be-
Hakuna Matata, but yes.
How sad would it be if you and I are carpooling in
we
Hollywood?
We could be.
And we're sitting there watching Jeopardy.
Could be. I saw a guy who was in the audience 6 months ago, and I was like, that guy was big out of Real World. I remember when he was on Real World, and he's just in the audience. I don't know if he's one of the paids or regular, but either way, I was like, well, there you go.
Okay, I've got a story, and I probably told this with Jay Flats last week. So a buddy of mine goes like, hey, listen, I know you're bobbing and waving, you're back at freelancing, and listen, can you be a PA on a commercial I'm directing tomorrow? I'm like, do you need me? He's like, yeah, I need you. I'm like, okay, I'll do it. And he goes, I'll pay you $100. And I'm like, okay, really? 100. He was like, all right, I'll try to get you 200. I'm like, okay, cool. Whatever you want. My buddy, his name's Stoney Westmoreland. And we go to a location right here in Venice to a house. And he said, you're going to be with the kid. All I want you to do is entertain that kid. The mom's going to be there. It's going to be a long day. You are in charge of making sure that kid does not get bored. Sure. I didn't see that little punk until like lunch. They had me running around town. Oh, we got a camera part. We need copies. We need this. I need that. And I'm like, that fucking Stoney, man. I thought I was going to have an easy gig, $200. Boom. And then one time, the first AD comes out of the house and goes, Chunky, you got to lose the fucking crows. They're making too much noise. And I'm like, what do you want me to do? He's like, get the crows out of the neighborhood. So cut to me banging on this tree, clapping my hands, whistling. The neighbors are coming out. What's wrong? These crows have got to go. And then 20 minutes later, the first AD comes out of the house again. He goes, hey, Chunky, good job on the crows. Good job. So at the end of the day, Stoney goes, hey, that's what friends are for, man. We do each other favors. I go, no. Wait a second. This was you doing me a favor? He's like, you haven't worked in a while. I'm like, F you, dude. I was doing you a favor.
Let me ask you something. You got paid $200.
Right.
You got a great fucking story out of it.
No doubt.
Worth it, right?
No doubt.
Because I think you as a scarecrow never... And now you got to do something with a cowardly lion and a tin man?
To complete the set.
But that's great. And here's my thing is I don't consider myself, and this supports what you just did, because some would have been like, dude, no. Right. I've got to draw the line at something. I've never had that mentality. And whether it's based out of fear or perhaps others may misconstrue it as, oh, he's just confident in himself and he can do these lower gigs and not feel like it affects. No, I am not above anything. Yep. You said $100 and my eyes lit up. I don't know if you saw that.
I did see that. I
was like, whoa, damn, they still hiring? there's a lot of crows out here. The two of us together, which by the way, not to segue, but there were some times over the shows preceding you leaving and me starting where we got to do warm-up together.
Oh, yeah.
And I have to genuinely say that we were as close to, personally speaking, we were as close to what I thought was a kick-ass morning radio team as you can get without actually being a kick-ass. And I'm not talking about Duluth. I'm talking about at least San Antonio.
Right.
A mid-major market.
Yeah, exactly.
What we were doing. And I had a blast. And I part of it was they threw me out there. It was like, hey, because there was this weird thing that like, oh, we need more energy. We need more energy, you know?
Right.
So
which was, now that you look at it, was just them slowly setting the table for what went down, which I'm totally cool with.
Yeah. And welcome to the orchestrations of showbiz.
No doubt.
It happens all the time. Right. We're all puppets in bigger people's games. It's the way it goes.
No doubt.
But so we'd go out there and you'd have a microphone. I'd have a microphone. It was Chunky and Bob, which in and of itself already sounds like a radio show in the Wiz. Chunky, Bob, and the Wiz.
And the Wiz. Maybe we should, put that on the back burner.
Oh, I think we would have a field day. Now, whether or not people would genuinely be entertained, I don't know. But I thought we were really good. And I remember at one point you were up in the stand. And this is for, again, so people know the setup. Yeah. We have about 150 people, 180 for a typical Ferguson taping, all of whom are self-contained in one grandstand. Yep. So they're, it's not like they're scattered or they're in some sort of oval, some sort of arc. They're all right there in a square little boxy area. Yep. So you kind of trap them on one side, I trap them on the other, and we just go back and forth. And I felt like we were just, we kept them entertained. We were funny. And I remember you made fun of my orange sweater.
Right.
And I zinged you back with your bowling shirt from, borrowing your bowling shirt. Lo and behold, that could be it.
Same one.
From Charlie Sheen. You remember that?
Yes.
But it was good-natured ribbing. It was none of that. We were really trying to take each other down. I had a blast, dude.
Same here.
Literally had a blast. And I was like, there's just a chemistry here that you can't.
Thank you for saying that.
You can't bullshit,
because I was thinking the same thing. And now, for you to say that right now, just, one, makes my day, and two, puts the piece of the puzzle together going, I hope this wasn't one-sided, because I was having fun.
No, I think we really, and I don't do it. Are there two-man warm-ups? And I don't know, just off of that, could we actually record a demo and get a job? Because, hey, man, if you're fucking scaring crows and I'm unemployed, then we go to Duluth.
Dude, we can make it right here. We
go to Cocoa Beach. I don't care. We will go wherever, and we will just climb the ladder. I've always been fascinated by radio. I've always just wanted to have good chemistry with someone. I would do it in a heartbeat.
Well, that was my dream in life. I was like my freshman year at a small school outside of Boston. I was like the first week I had my own radio show. That's all I wanted to do.
In Boston or
outside of Boston, like a small town called Franklin.
You did have a show.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I could relate. I mean, a freshman, Indiana University. I had my own like 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. Saturday morning cable. Get this, not radio, not college radio, cable college radio. So it was only for people who had actually hardwired their transistors through the dorm connectors.
Right.
And I did comedy. Well, I wrote little sketches. I played records. It was I mean, we're talking like those winters in Bloomington, Indiana, where I'm walking to this radio station at 3 on a Saturday morning. Loved it. And then I moved out here, and I quit because I got a job as a screener for KFI, the 640 a.m. Yeah. And I had the overnight shift on Saturday nights, and this is while I was, had started doing stand-up comedy. I was working on Barnes & Nobles, and I was doing this overnight shift, and I had finished a shift for a guy named Scott Green, who I still hear him. I think he's a weather guy on like 790 or 710 or whatever. And driving home my little Geo Metro, and I fell asleep because we lived down in Redondo Beach at the time, and KFI's up there in near downtown. Yeah. And fell asleep, woke up moments before literally sliding off the PCH, and I was like, I can't keep doing this. Right. So I had to pick and choose, but I was doing it because I was so enthralled with radio, and still am. Still am. Would love to be a part of it.
Well, let me slide into this conversation. How did Oprah Winfrey come into your life as a youngster?
Get ready, Wiz. Get ready.
Strap
Buffalo Trace. How much time do you have, brother?
Anytime, all the time.
This is May 17th, 1999. Actually, it happened a couple days prior. The story is I've told it so often that it's going to seem rehearsed, but I really, truly enjoy telling it. And it truly was something that in my career still maintains a lot of significance. But I'd been doing stand-up. I moved out here in 95, so I've been doing stand-up in this city like 3 or 4 years. I was doing a 3.75 fourths empty coffee house in Glendale. When I got the call from my manager, I was with Brilsing Gray, which had picked me up, and it's a big-time management. I don't know how I landed in their laps, but long story short, I was with them, and they call me, and they say, well, we represent Bob Saget. Now, he's about to do an episode of Oprah where he has to bring on a protege, a person that he picked as a future comedy star. And, well, Bob, he really kind of forgot about it. So we sent him some – I mean, this is how long ago. We sent him your VHS, and he liked it. And so can you be on an airplane tomorrow with Bob to fly to Chicago to tape the next day for Oprah, and then you'll fly back then? And I'm just a dumb guy. I'm looking at this half-empty Glendale, coffee bar. Yeah, what the hell? Next thing you know, next day, I'm on the airplane first class with Bob Saget. TV's Bob Saget.
Oh, my God.
I mean, guy who was star of 2 extremely popular shows at the same time.
Yep.
I believe he still holds some sort of record. Never met him before in my life, and we're hatching this backstory that he saw me at the Comedy Store one night, and as if the angels, beckoned from above, like in a light, and like, oh, future comedy. So we made up this whole bullshit story. We lied to Oprah. I just realized that. I think I've already condemned myself to hell.
Is that worse than lying to God?
I think that is, and it's just now hitting me that we lied to Oprah. Saget's problem too. So, anyways, we fly out there. We have this is how disconnected I am to what's going on because it's happening so fast and I have so little going on in my life to suddenly be, but we had to actually do an emergency landing in Peoria, Illinois, because of inclement weather. So we make an emergency landing in a commercial airline, which in and of itself should be sort of something that was an afterthought. I remember us landing rockily, holding on, and Bob and I are still patching our bullshit story to tell Oprah. I mean, that's how much.
Right. Everyone's screaming and yelling.
Yeah. We're just like, okay,
and you're planning a big lie.
What night was it you saw me at the Comedy Store? So then, blah, blah, blah. I don't even remember anything about that. We just talked the whole time. He had just gone through a divorce, so he did tell me a lot about it. I remember at one point thinking to myself, wait a second. You're the guy who's made mega millions doing TV. I'm the guy who's doing a half-empty Glendale coffee bar. How come I'm making you feel better about life?
Right.
You know what I mean? It was one of those odd twists where I was like, Bob, things are going to get better, buddy. Anyways, we land in Chicago. Next day, like I said, Oprah and their proteges. Now, this is who's in the waiting room, Chunky, okay? Bill Murray. Bill Murray is in the room. His pick is going to be appearing via satellite. A young up-and-comer to SNL named Jimmy Fallon. I don't know if you ever heard of him. Fallon, am I getting it right? In the room with us is somebody else's pick, Jon Stewart, who's doing it from New York, and his pick is in the room with us, an up-and-coming stand-up comedian named Louis Black, okay? In the room with us. No, this was a pre-tape because he wasn't with us. D.L. Hughley, who's bringing on a woman named Samore. Do you know Samore?
Samore?
Samore. Sommore was her name. Was her name. I assume she's still with us.
Samore?
Yeah, Samore. And then what I remember, that was Bill Maher, who was not there, but brought on, you remember Kid and Play?
Of course.
Chris Reed?
Yeah.
He was
Which
being
one was
brought.
it? The dude?
He's the big, tall hair guy. He's coming on, and he had never actually done stand-up. I was like, you're talking about Saget and I coming up with a bullshit story.
So everybody's lying to Oprah.
Yeah, everyone's lying to Oprah. But Chris Reed hadn't even done stand-up before, so he's going, because we're going to have to do stand-up. He's going over a set. I remember he was something about Fruit Loops. He was just trying to ad-lib it. Man, is this funny? I'm like, Dad, you're gonna go do Oprah. And anyways, come on. I do my set. Ignorance is bliss. I hadn't really thought about it. And this is when our viewership is what? 20 million? I don't know. 14 million? I mean, this is 99, so people still watch TV. And did my set, and it was great. It was great. And I wasn't nervous. I was too dumb to be nervous. And it was all mostly housewives. And then I come and I sit down next to Oprah, and I'm sitting next to Bob Saget, and he describes me as Opie with an edge. And she goes, well, what's it like? And I'm like, I don't know. It's hard to describe. All I know is that, 24 hours ago, I was working my day job, and 24 hours from now, I'll be back at my day job. Oh. But I said, today, I'm not getting anyone's damn coffee or something like audience erupts. There's this, I could have floated out of there on the potential of my career.
That is crazy.
I'm trying to do the math in my head. 14 years, 6 months, 8 days later, I'm talking about it in a garage. I mean, no offense, but you know what I mean. Now look.
Hey, check this out. As we
But hey, man, try Buffalo Trace. My first endorsement. It's not even my endorsement.
We're going to take a breather. We're going to be right back. Don't you go anywhere, but get on the Twitter and tell everyone to be watching this stuff. This is awesome. That's crazy. You guys have got to check out our brand new sponsor, Venice Duck Brewery. You want to get your quack on? Taste some of this.
Hi, Winston Giles here in Los Angeles, California from 1 Degree of Chunky B, and our artist of the week this week is Fascinator. Australian Johnny, now out of New York, and the song's called Mr. Caterpillar.
Hey, I'm Bob Oschack. I'm in the Garage of Love, and you're checking out 1 Degree of Chunky B.
All right, we're back in the Garage of Love and Bob Oschack. Oh, my God. I want to let you know, I haven't had a good belly laugh like that in a while. And I want to let you know I'm laughing with you, not at you.
No, I love it. Dude, here's the thing that I still use Oprah as an intro. I have Ryan from the audience company introduce me with that intro, with the exact date that I was on it. And you know why I do it? Because it organically gets a laugh.
It's funny.
And it's gone from me, when I initially used it for a couple of years, it came off as perhaps kind of boastful or at least a legit, then it became sort of ironic that I was still mentioning that I was on Oprah in 1999. Then it became sort of sad that I was still mentioning I was on Oprah, and now it's at a level where it's just genuinely funny.
But you're the funny.
It's just funny.
Your delivery, and I've even before you and I became friends, and we were on the same production but in different categories. You've got this delivery that is confident, but at the same time tongue-in-cheek, where you're almost making fun of yourself.
Yeah, no, trust me, I'm making fun of myself.
Yeah. I mean, even like when we did, and I know I'm straying off, but we did this benefit a couple weeks ago.
Ugh, that did not go well.
I thought it did.
Oh, I thought you. I didn't get to see you.
No,
I was melted. I was literally drenched when I got off that stage.
Really?
Yeah, and this is why this is sort of my love-hate relationship with comedy. Am I hijacking the story here?
No, go run with it.
We did this benefit, and it was in a and it was for a great cause. And my only problem is I feel like I hope I was able to. I hope I didn't ruin anything because it was for such a great cause, but. It was in a restaurant. See, here's the thing about stand-up. For me personally, I need to not see anyone. I need to not see anyone. So when I walked into that room and I saw that we were in a small restaurant, and people, I could see the buffet, and I could see the silent auction, and I could see the wait staff waiting for everyone to leave, and I saw people milling about, and you know, I can't, because all I see are disappointed faces. That's why I love the Comedy Store. People really badmouth the Comedy Store sometimes. They say it's a bad place, rough venue, what have you. My God, all I see when I go on stage there is one spotlight blinding me to the rest of the world, and I just feel like I'm truly performing. Whereas when I can see the audience, I inevitably focus on the one guy who's like, you know what I mean? And it could be one, it could be 300 people laughing.
Right.
So that restaurant,
I do know what you mean.
Yeah.
Totally disagree with you. I need to see faces. That's
well, for warm up, yeah.
No, I'm talking about when I do stand up.
Oh, okay.
I got a quick story. I know I want to finish up that Oprah thing, but I opened up for Sinbad outside of San Francisco a couple of years back.
Okay.
And I walked on stage, and they shut the thing down, and the spotlight came, and it knocked the wind out of me.
Like you're saying, you couldn't see anything.
Yeah, and I was like, "Whoa, this is," because I'm normally eye contact, you know, because that's my
no, I get
warm-up.
it. Yeah.
And another thing, they didn't tell me there was going to be kids. It was a supper club, Tom's Supper Club, you know, outside of San Francisco. And the reason I went up there, because he was at the Ferguson show and he liked my comedy. Then he hired me, flew me up there, opened up for Sinbad, and never told me there were going to be toddlers. And
how much time were you supposed to do?
I was supposed to do 25, and I did maybe 4. Because I was.
This is awful.
I know it's awful. It was awful, and I accidentally said, "Fuck."
Oh, of course.
Oh, there's kids in the audience. Fuck them.
That's literally one of the most terrifying things I can hear before I go on stage. There are kids in the audience, and I'll never forget the Improv used to do this thing where they'd book us, and we'd go up. This is a Hollywood Improv, and I, by the way, haven't been up on their stage in years, so it's not like I'm in there. But at the time, I was getting up fairly regularly, and they'd book us and not tell us that it was like kids' camp night. There's usually like a random August night. And you'd get on stage, and it's not just it's kids, but it's like, you know, the 11 to 15-year-olds, so they're already full of disrespect anyhow.
Oh, sure.
And you're on stage, and you're torn between, you don't want to use any obscenity in front of them, and at the same time you want their attention, and all that's really going to get their attention is perhaps an obscenity or whatever. But I remember doing so poorly that the kids just started playing tag in the aisle while I was on stage. And they're just a spontaneous game of tag while I'm on stage. I'm like, you can't make this shit up.
Oh,
he's
God.
It. I'm surprised I didn't chime in. You're right. He is it.
That's
You
right.
are it. He did
No
tag
cheating.
you. Yeah.
No cheating.
Oh my God.
That is hilarious. Okay, now you just got off this crazy life experience with Saget on a plane. You nail it at Oprah.
Nailed it. And I've been on TV since and not nailed it. So I'm not some guy who's looking at it through rose-colored glasses. I will call myself out.
Right.
I
Now,
nailed it.
What?
I nailed it.
I might as well call you a carpenter.
You know what else nails it? Boston Trace.
Bubba.
Would have been good if I'd gotten it right.
Nailed it.
That's why I don't get
Nailed
any
it.
endorsement
Nailed
deals.
So what was?
That's how good Buffalo Trace is. I've had a few sips, and now I'm calling it Boston Trace. So actually, in a way, an odd validation of the product.
What happened after Oprah? You know, a week later, 2 weeks later.
No, you asked me this, and at first I was going to say nothing, but that would have been a disservice to my one and only film role. So 2 guys who were in Pensacola, Florida, happened to watch. I don't even know how they reached me, but they had somehow, this Pensacola, Florida, they'd somehow rummaged up about 30 grand from a wealthy investor to make this movie. The 2-week shoot, and it was called Sharkman. And I would play a guy named Tim the Cartoonist, and my character Sharkman came alive and kind of takes over my life, and you know it runs amok. Something About Mary had come out, so I don't know if I came up with this or they came up with this, but in our delusions of grandeur about the movie, we were saying it was the next Something About Mary. When you cut to the crew, and it's like one burly guy in tats with a shoulder cam and a kid holding a boom mic who's on leave from a community college. But yeah, we're the next something about. So they paid me, God, a couple hundred. I can't remember how much it was, but I flew down there and I shot this movie for 2 weeks solely because they saw me on Oprah. Still have the movie on DVD. Played it for my son, who's now 9, but I think I played it for him perhaps when he was 5 or 6. And He laughed harder at that movie than, and he, we take him, we don't shelter the poor child. We're not those parents who are like, oh, you can't see. We show him everything. Yeah. He, without a doubt, laughed at that movie harder than any other movie this kid's ever seen. And it was, it's not a great movie by any means, but that was like so sort of validating of sorts. Right. And I have not landed a role in a TV show and or movie since, so that may have been the only thing I got out of it. But yeah, I to answer your question, hell yeah, I got something out of Oprah. I got a fucking movie, man. I got a movie, bitch.
But here is the crazy thing, and I'm sure you thought about that. That was something with a shark, right?
Yeah, and then years later, I stumble into this role where I dress up in a shark outfit for Discovery Channel, and that was Craig's whim. Right. We were in a meeting.
So break it down. So what people are.
Craig Ferguson is executive producer of this show called Shark After Dark that airs on Shark Week, and the first incarnation of it premiered last year, and it's basically an after show where I never realized how big Shark Week was. By the way, it's huge. It's a phenomenon. So there's usually 2-3 hour chunk of Shark Week programming, and then we have the after show where we interview perhaps the people who were on the show, whatever. So I was I was just gonna write on it, and I knew the host, Josh Wolf. Do you know Josh Wolf?
I don't know him, but I did watch the show and I loved it.
Yeah. Okay. So Josh Wolf was a host. I've worked with Josh many times in the past, and so I was brought on to be kind of help him with ideas and writing little tidbits and lines, whatever. And then Josh was like, oh, I'm a little apprehensive. It's my first time hosting something of this scale. And Craig just belched out, hey, we'll put Bob in a shark outfit and he'll be your sidekick. And, and it literally, they found this costume that literally is held together by duct tape and gum by now.
Oh, yeah.
It's just...
But that's what makes it more funny.
Yeah, it's just an awful costume. And they can't even find a replacement for it now because I think the company was probably shut down as a fire hazard. And you know what I mean? And some, a sweatshop, whatever. And so I wound up playing a shark, 15 years later, and we got some traction. They created a Twitter account that had 40-something thousand followers at one point, and we were just drafting off of the phenomenon that is Shark Week. Right. But yeah, there is some sort of nautical theme to
But we're kind of making fun of you in the costume, but the show looks great.
Oh no, it was a high-end show.
Set,
yeah,
and,
they put a lot of time in. It will probably be outside of Oprah as high profile and on camera gig as I may never have, and they've kept me around so far. I don't want to get cocky because it's still 2 months away, but I guess I'm coming back as it again. And again, I didn't even put the 2 and 2 together as my son, who by the way thinks Sharkman is the greatest movie ever made. That was the name of it, by the way. He was the one who was like, oh, Daddy, you're going to be in Shark. I was like, oh, my God, you're right. I didn't even think about it. And, yeah, it was a total thrill. We were flying by the seat of our pants. We had no crew. We had no staff. We were coming up with shit at the end of the tape day for the next day. Right. Wound up actually gaining traction. It just goes to show. Yeah. The lesson here, you never know what's going to click. You really don't.
And you just got to keep clicking.
What you do is you have to throw yourself out there. And that goes back to you. You're out there scaring fucking crows. But who's not to say that,
someone's going to see me.
Spielberg, he's still the go-to for a big-time name, right? I don't know. I don't know who the young kids watch now. Spielberg, rumbles by in his whatever reference you'd use for a nice car and goes, hey, I want that fucker in whatever he directs now. Right. I'm really disconnected with film references right now.
Well, you know what it is? I'll start next to Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe.
Right. And the music will be by Sheryl Crow.
Oh, there you go.
And the Black Crows.
And the Black Crows. You see what we're going for here. But what I'm saying is that by, and when Craig said that, about, oh, we'll put him in a shark, and I'm just like, in my head, I'm like, this is not going to see the light of day.
Well, one thing
but I said yes.
Right. Of course you say yes.
And it wound up being something, and that's why, not to say go out there and do hardcore porn guys or girls or whomever to make ends meet or to get a break, but at the same time, don't turn stuff down because you feel like you're above it or what. You never know. Just for the opportunity alone, just for the stories alone, for podcasts, do this stuff. Yeah, I really think there's a lesson there. I think.
But didn't you even do a personal appearance? Did you go to?
I did some
recently. Did you go?
We did some photo shoot. Oh, I did. I was there for the upfront. They flew us there to upfronts. You know what upfronts are for the
yeah.
networks, and Discovery had an upfront, and I showed up, and I'm there in my shark suit, and hold on, I'll show you look who I'm taking a picture with. Next thing you know, because as you know, she also, I'm trying not to tip the reveal here, she also is part of the Discovery broadcasting family. So I'm at the Discovery upfronts in my shark outfit. Look who happens to walk by
you tease me.
and goes, oh my goodness, who are you and what are you doing in that outfit? Oh, reunion.
Oh my gosh.
Which camera do you need
Can
to
we
show
see that?
to?
Can we see that?
A little bit of a glare, but yeah.
Okay. All right. It's Oprah.
One word, starts with an O. If you need any more clues than that,
Yeah.
you're an Al Qaeda.
Yeah. And check that out. Is she saying, "Did you lie to me"?
You know what she's saying here? You might. It's almost like a little movie here because then she's like, she had no. Of course, she didn't recognize me from
Put that
17 years
closer
ago.
to your face. There you go.
She didn't recognize me from 17 years ago or anything.
right.
But then she's like, oh, who are you? And I said, oh, hi, I'm Bob the Shark. And then there's okay, I'm done with you. You see what I mean? It's like it's a little flip book. And that was the end of my interaction with Oprah. But the point is, they flew me out to do a little personal appearance, and I got to bring my daughter to
awesome.
New York City, and
How
we
old
got
she
to go
now?
see Wicked. She's 12 now, and she's getting into she likes performing. She's in the
Nice.
little, the middle school and all that stuff, and it was a great bonding experience with her. So all of this, because I said, okay, I'll wear a shark outfit.
Yeah. And one thing about Ferguson, which I love about him, is if someone says, "All right, listen, the gay skeleton's not working," no, it's working.
No,
And
he's
what
going to make it work
It's
even
gonna
more.
make.
Yeah.
Come on, we've got friends that wear a horse outfit every night. Mm-hmm. And you know what? These guys were great production assistants. Now they're making that decent money.
They're iconic.
Right.
Look them up.
Yep.
You get Secretariat, which is probably one of the greatest figures in the history of sports.
Yep.
You Google image Secretariat, you're going to get about a half dozen to a dozen images of this unbelievable horse, and then you're going to get these two guys in a costume.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean? It's like, that's great. Good for them.
Yeah.
Again, obviously there's caveats or whatever the word is to it's just saying yes to anything.
Yep.
But I really want to hammer this down. That's why I think that you scaring crows, which is an image I will never shake out of my head.
Oh yeah.
There's something great about that. There's really, I'm not above anything. I'll do whatever I got to do. And it's not even me saying that I'm like some sort of noble figure or in the other that I'm really desperate. It's just for the experience.
Yeah.
It's just for the stories, and it could lead to something.
And I want to let you know, one, it makes me feel good that you said that, and it's a lesson for anybody trying to make it in any business. Someone says something to you, you just say yes, and then figure the shit out later. But that's. I don't know where I was going.
We
I
lost
just
him.
got,
We lost him, Wiz.
no, what I was going to do. I just got a little emotional.
I know Chunky well enough to know when we've lost him.
Down goes Chunky. No. But yes, you say yes, and here's what my point was. I made sure that I was the best motherfucking PA that
Yeah.
production saw.
Oh, hell yeah.
And there was this little hottie 25-year-old chick. Her name was Harley, and she got her area of being a PA was near the craft service, and mine was at the end of the garage, making sure that everything was cool with the lighting, guys coming in and out. And man, I never left my post.
No.
I was right there, and people were coming up to me, and even Stoney, the director, my friend, goes like, "Dude, they were really happy."
So you have a friend who directs commercials.
He's an actor.
Okay.
But then he knew these people out of Texas, and they were like, "Hey, we're coming out to do this commercial."
But again, a great contact to have. And
Oh, God, he's a
why
great guy.
wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you want to, keep
Yep.
that contact alive and whatever? It is all about contacts. And I really do feel like making money in showbiz, and it may be this way in life in general, unless you're a CEO, it's a steady climb. But I really feel like it's that whatever the shape is, where you're just like,
Yeah.
so you're just trying to prolong as long as you can this little
Right.
which I've been very fortunate. I think I'm at right now, writing on a network talk show and all that for several years. I'm just trying to preserve this little because inevitably it's going to go this way.
But
inevitably,
right.
because that's the career
But
we've
so
chosen.
what? You know something? You're doing like the roller coaster thing. I do.
No,
I
I don't think. I think it's just one loop.
Oh, really?
This is the beginning of the ride. This is the apex, and this is where you end.
no,
I'd love to have some little loops, but I really genuinely feel. I'm not trying to be humble. I'm just telling you that's what I think the general course of a
Right.
career is.
My thing is, even though I don't surf, I say like, okay, wow, I'm riding this wave.
Mm-hmm.
As long as I can. Then all of a sudden I hit the beach, and then you got, you take a breather,
Same.
and
Okay.
then you get back on the surfboard and you get back out there.
That's probably where you and I may differ, and I'm not saying you're right and I'm wrong or other way around, but instead of personally, when I think I hit the beach, I'm going to be so firmly embedded in the sand that little crabs are going to just eat my eyeballs. Not to be negative. Maybe I'm just being negative.
Yeah.
But my point is, I am trying to just prolong the wave as long as I can, and any sort of outside incomes or jobs or opportunities or whatever.
Right.
And I went through a phase where I feel like I spent way too many of my more formative stand-up years turning stuff down because I thought I was too good for it or whatever. And that's when I should have struck. Maybe my stand-up career would have actually panned out. But instead, I was like, I'm not going to do that, or I'm above that, or I'm not going to put myself, or I'm not going to put my... and guess what? Stand-up went nowhere because of that. Whereas now, unfortunately, I learned that, but it's a little too late because nobody's trying to book me. So,
Right. Well, no, what are you doing for stand-up now? Well, because... You're going back out there, right?
Oh, yeah. I try to get up. I really do compare it to just sparring.
Right.
I literally just get out there to spar. The Comedy Store has been gracious enough to still give me some, what I call, late night kind of junk sets, get up 12:15, 12:30, what have you. More times than not, you're in front of a rowdy group of Australians or maybe a hobo or two who's just seeking shelter. But whatever. Sometimes you get up in front of great crowds too. I don't work out enough new material to even call myself a stand-up as much as I am sort of going through the greatest hits chart, which I've compiled over the years.
Right.
So I just do it just to stay fresh and loose. And as I was telling someone the other day, I do kind of treat it as more of a social gathering than it is stage time.
Right.
You're meeting and hanging out with rarefied air there with stand-ups. Sure, there's some messed up guys. There's some junkies. But there's also guys who are real go-getters, who have very sharp minds, who are confident enough to separate themselves from all the other people anonymously sort of wading through Hollywood and typing away in their apartments but not really doing anything. These guys are like, no, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to get on stage. Those are good people to know.
I worked on Last Comic Standing.
Yeah, I know. I heard about that because I know Hugh Fink, who was one of the guys who gave me my first real writing job.
And I'm telling you, that was like, it was almost like you were at a comedy clinic. And it's bizarre enough.
Is it done? Last Comic Standing, or are you still doing it?
No, the tapings are done.
Okay.
But, they haven't done they're starting to air the stuff.
Gotcha, okay.
But I saw it in two different views. Liz Blanca, who is the director, I was shooting camera way back for Wayne Brady, and she's like, hey, listen, I hear you you got some time. You want to shoot for me? I'm like, yeah, I'll shoot for you. And then they found out that I did warm-up, so I was shooting a couple days, and then I went to do one day of warm-up, and I'm telling you, Bob, it was a nightmare.
Really?
They did two
now,
shows.
Was this at the Sabin or
Yeah.
What is that theater? I always see it.
Saban?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
And it was two shows, and it was still the elimination rounds and stuff like that, where I 8 hours of warm up.
No,
I kid you not.
That's probably the second scariest thing I think I've ever heard outside of there's kids in the audience.
Right.
We need you to do 8 hours of warm up.
And you know what happens is like, that 6th, 7th hour, there was not a lot of, everybody was leaving except for
that 30th minute.
I know. I couldn't believe it, but they didn't see it that way. Wanda Sykes, she was like, well, I don't know. I was nailing it for 3.5 hours.
Well, wait, what? How often? Now, it wasn't 8 hours straight, obviously. There's
It
stop
wasn't,
downs.
but there were more stop downs than I've ever seen in a production because they were picking. You had the judges. You had what's his name? Peter Russell? The comedian? Russell Peters?
Russell Peters, yeah, okay.
Peters, who I adore this guy.
Yeah,
and then you had Roseanne.
Sure.
And then you had Wayans, Ivy guy.
Damon Wayans.
What's his name?
Damon Wayans.
No.
So he said
Ivy. Ivory?
Ivy Wayans?
Ivory. What's his name?
Keenan Ivory.
Wayans. You're terrible at names, Chuck.
Hey, dude, that's fresh water there. That's. I brought you another cup. That's
thank
good,
you.
That's good water. That's not tap water. That's like good shit right there.
It's almost as good a shit as Ivory Wayans.
It's like
Sounds like something you do in the elephant tusk market. It's time for an ivory weigh-in. Let's see how much we got here.
Oh, this one's a big one.
Oh, that's
but
great.
I'm getting back to it. I do every once in a while, once a month,
No, wait a second. How did you do 8 hours of warm-up? I'm intrigued to hear this. What did you do?
I just had people come down, sing, dance, and
Did you come equipped with a bag of
I had T-shirts,
props and gimmicks,
and I even busted out the hula hoops. I
okay.
bought them.
How did you know? So you do have experience filling longer than because
Yes.
you know how Ferguson is. We do maybe 25 to 30 up top, and then we just kind of clap in between segments.
Yeah.
Whereas
it was brutal. It was brutal.
I couldn't imagine.
And
Do you have an audience switch?
Nope.
You're supposed to keep the same audience for
And
8
what
hours?
they did, they had like 800 people in the audience, and I kept them there as much as possible. But the people that were there just for fun, slowly leaving.
Of course.
Yeah, we were like, hey, can you stay? Can you stay? And then the paid people, and what's that guy, JB Smoove?
I don't know.
He's a host.
He's a host.
really funny, good-looking black dude. He's hilarious. I'll tell you what, that guy never gave up. It didn't matter. It was 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning. He was still doing wraparounds or, retakes. And that guy was so strong. And I'm sitting there standing like I was about to pass out standing up.
What do you mean? Like he was still doing material, still brought the energy?
Brought the energy.
Okay. Wow. So were you asked back or was that
Nope.
a one?
Oh, no. I wasn't asked back. And then my friend Tom Riles, who's over at Ellen, he's an awesome individual. They bring him in, and I was shooting. They brought me back to camera.
Okay, so you're there.
I'm there.
Okay.
He does 45 minutes, and they end the day. I'm like,
Are you
no
kidding me?
idea how lucky you are.
Why? What happened?
Because it was just one show of how to properly roast, and Gilbert Gottfried was there, and everybody, all these young new comedians were roasting Gilbert Gottfried, and it was just 12 comedians, the roast. And Tom Riles was done in 45 minutes. The show went for about an hour and 20, and everybody high-fived him, and he was, the hero. Oh, gosh, that's a real warm-up guy right there, which he is. But the real ones stay there for 8 fucking hours.
Well, Craig's doing this game show, and they have a guy coming in. Because I was asking Ron Paul, I guess this is really, really inside baseball, so I'll just keep it. But he's doing this game show now, and they brought in Frank Nicotero,
right?
Who I don't know, and I don't know. I mean, I know who he is. But Ron Paul, the stage manager for our show, who's also doing that show, was saying, like, yeah, it's a different beast, a game show. You have to come equipped with, some of these guys show up and they have, like, hula hoops, like you said, or they have karaoke machines, or they have all these, like, it's literally like showing up to do a birthday party.
Yep. Yeah.
And I would be absolutely thrown to the wolves if I had to do something like that.
Right.
Because what do we do? We got 2 T-shirts. And then we just tell them to clap
and a Snickers,
Tal Cruz or whatever his name is.
A little,
yeah, and the Snickers, which I give a lot more of. I give I give away a lot more than I think you do.
Oh no,
because I have them stockpiling that shit, man.
Oh, do you?
Yeah,
Good.
that's gold. That's gold for old Bob Oschack.
It is. Real quick, Frank Nicotero, unbelievable guy. Love him dearly.
I just learned that's who's doing it today. Ron Paul told me, and I was like, I think that guy hosted a show that was on forever.
Yeah, 6
You know the
years. It
show?
was called. I warmed it up. It
Street
was called
Smarts.
Street Smarts.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because it's one of those shows you're like, my God, this show has been on for a really. It's like that Byron Allen thing that you see comics hanging out and talking.
Yeah.
It's
Unleashed.
like on. Yes, it's on.
I used to warm that up.
Did you?
So I started.
You got the golden touch, man.
No, not anymore. I got the golden touch. Everything I touch turns into a muffler.
Okay.
It's the Midas touch. That's a little joke there. Hey, listen, we are way past our bedtime. You want to plug anything besides everything else?
Sharkman on VHS.
Yes.
Oh wait, my son already got
I'm
it. Never mind.
excited.
My son owns the only copy. Don't worry about it. No, man, I'm fine. And thank you for having me here. I have some questions about how much it cost for you to finish the garage, but we'll do that off.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Off the air.
And I want to tell you, awesome. You're an awesome guest.
No,
Will you
great.
come back? Because there's about 8 more days we can talk about.
I'm not, I'm in Culver City on the other side of Sepulveda, so it'd take me, no time to get here.
Perfect.
I could ride my bike.
Bob Oschack, one of the greatest individuals in showbiz history, the man that still lives after lying to Oprah. I would like
so far.
The Wizard of the Knobs. Thank you so much for all
Thanks for
you
having me,
do in the
gentlemen.
Garage of Love. Gary Adler, we need you back in this this table right here, big guy. I hope
Where's
your
the
Son,
Adler? Where's the Adler?
Yeah, he's somebody's cheering on his son, little Beck.
Got to do what you got to do,
Yeah.
man.
All right. My name is Chunky B, and we are DONE. That's how you spell it, right?
Yep.
All right. All right.